back to the channel. Today's down and dirty. Let me spin around so I can show you our scenario. Woo, it's one of these where you've got a bunch of 1x3 shoved up against some silt fence, and my golly, how are we going to get this without destroying our silt fence? There's a couple ways that we can do this. The first one is we can run kind of parallel with the silt fence. We can angle our blade away from the silt fence and we can try to just shave it away, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we're gonna kind of get in position here. We're gonna angle our blade all the way, and then we're just gonna run right through here, and nice and gentle. We're making sure we're not getting the silt fence. As soon as you start to see that silt fence really flex, you want to pull away. And then we get our blade loaded up. We're going to just do a quick spin away, and we can shove her on out. Then we'll come back here, and we'll do another one. Come at it, shave, shave, shave. Oh, look at that nice little shave there. Load her up, pull away, and that certainly will work for us. But as you can see, if I back up a little bit, you hopefully can see that. That's a really, really tight turn for me to kind of shave and pull it and peel it away. And what happens is, as we are turning towards the inside, the material is wanting to go to the outside, which means that all of this 1x3, which you can kind of see from our external view here, is kind of pushing off to that side. It's going to keep pushing all of that material slowly further and further towards my truck and the skid steer down there. And I don't want to do that. That's requiring more work. It's going to require more passes. So is there a more efficient way we can do this? And I would argue, yes, there is. I'm going to reposition myself, and we're going to pull it away. And we don't have to worry about getting super huge passes with the blade on this. We just want to get it away from the silt fence. So we're going to go up here. We're going to grab. And the nice thing is you can be pretty dainty when you're doing it this way. Once you're beyond the silt fence, give her some weight. Pull it back away. That's it. That's all we're going for. It doesn't need to be clean. It doesn't need to be tidy. We're just getting it away from the silt fence. Now, if you pull it away to the extent that I did, one of the things you have to take into account is what just happened. If my blade was super low, when we rocked forward, there was a decent chance I was going to run into this pile and shove my silt fence over. So if you pull your spoils back, or whatever you're trying to do this with, if you pull that back to the point that you're going to go over halfway with your tracks, be aware you're going to tip, and you need to account for that. So we're going to go back in here. We're going to do another pass here, and we're going to really keep an eye on that silt fence to make sure we're not pulling on it. And there's another one. We'll leave that there. And all we're doing right now is just getting it away from the silt fence. We're not worried about making it pretty. We're not worried about getting every single last piece. We're just getting our silt fence cleaned off. Just like that. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to get a little of this windrow and pull it back as well. And I will show you why we're doing this in just a second. Remember, we accounted for that tip. Now, in a situation like this, you also have to recognize you're not going to be the lazy operator and be able to get all of this with just the machine. If we really needed to tidy this up all the way, we would need to get out with a shovel and do some shovel work. So as you can see, I'm just kind of peeling this out of there, rotating my blade through it, and pulling it back. Now, why did I just do that? What does that allow me to do? Well, now, if I get lined up here, you're going to see that when I set my blade down, instead of all of the material already being at the left side of the blade, where as soon as I start to cock the machine, that is awful. We're going to put the engine back up. That's terrible. I don't know what that is. Instead of all that material being off the left side, so that as soon as I start to cock the machine, a lot of it goes rolling off, now you're going to see that the majority of my windrow is actually going to hit in the center of my blade, which means that if I kind of push through in a straight line, come on, don't do that to me, dozer. My goodness. So now if I push through on a little straight line, it's gonna shove that material further over, which means in 2 or 3 passes, I can get this material kind of shoved out of way instead of doing 15 little passes and little swipes at it. And so now as we go forward, I'm gonna hit this material and I'm gonna keep going straight here because I want it to ride the blade and get away from the silt fence. And once I'm kind of past all of it, then I can start to make my turn. And look at how clean we are off the left side. I'm just now starting to get a little spillover on my blade. And now that we've got all of that out of there, let's go look at where our silt fence is. Look at all that room I have to work with now. Now I can start to get myself into a position to where I can do efficient forward passes. And it only took, what was that, 3 or 4 small little passes going backwards, pulling. And now I'm to a point where I can really start to get some production out of my machine instead of doing 15 to 20 little quarter blade passes to try to get it rolled up in here into a mount. This is just a far more efficient way of doing it. And what's going to happen here is we're going to slowly work this pile to where instead of making curves, I'm just pushing it straight in. That's what I'm ultimately working towards as I cut further into this pile. So we're already starting to cut a little more aggressively here. I'm going to make my turn, and now I'm doing almost a straight pass right into my pile. So that is a much more efficient way when you've got material up against a hard point. To get it hold, the more efficient way to do it is pull it away from the wall or the silt fence or whatever it is, and then get behind it and start pushing. The only time I would really recommend doing the straight passes, the parallel passes, is if we were wanting to work this material. Let's say we had this pile here, but we only wanted to work this material about to where the skid steer is. Well, now we can get in there and we can angle our blade and we can carry that material forward enough that through the blade being angled, the material is going to shuffle over, and then we can make that slow sweeping turn and we can still keep decent efficiency. But when you've got to do a really tight turn and you're trying to also sideswipe material, it's just not efficient and it's not productive. So as always, I hope this helps you guys on your job site. We'll catch you guys on the next Down and Dirty.